buckle up, because it's going to be a long ride. It's going to be a wild ride. Nobody cares, but we're going to tell you anyways. This is Popcorn Chats. Alrighty, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm McKay.
I'm Katie.
And we are back with our now reoccurring coverage of House of the Dragon, first season, episode 9. We're talking about today. I'm very excited to talk with you about this episode. This episode was fantastic. We're about to have some fun here.
We should have been covering this whole series.
We should have.
Episode by episode.
We should.
But here's the thing. We didn't know. It could have been a flop. And then we would have been stuck.
Yeah.
We would have rebutted. We would have figured something else out. But we should have fucking known, bitch.
Yeah. Well, and then we had already been covering Game of Thrones. Like, we were rewatching Game of Thrones. We were covering that. So I think we were kind of like, oh, well, you know, let's do something different. Like, do we really need to cover the whole thing? We should have.
I mean, we had to cover after.
We did. We did have to cover that one. That is like a reoccurring thing on the pod here.
Next season, we'll do episode by episode.
Yes.
But first,
we know better.
We must check in. Motherfucker. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't really feel like I have any. We just recorded our other episode not that long ago, so I feel like nothing really has happened. There was flurries outside this morning.
Oh, canceled.
Not the vibe.
Canceled. I hate that. Ew.
Yeah, trage. But that's pretty much it. How about you?
Well, I can't relate to not a lot happening. I have had myself a tragic couple of days. I am sitting here minding my own business on Friday when suddenly I hear a rustling in my kitchen. I'm like, you got me fucked up, bitch. I'm at my wit's motherfucking end. I get up, I slowly tippity-toe over, and what do you know? Motherfucking ratatouille mouse-looking ass bitch runs across the kitchen. I'm screaming, I'm crying. I immediately start crying because I'm so overwhelmed already. Like, anything like that, it's tears. Like, I can't control it. So the dog next door does not like my voice. We've established this on the podcast, so if he's chirping, there's nothing I can do about it because he has an issue with me. Anyways, so I'm immediately calling my apartment, like, come take care of this. What the fuck? There's literally a mouse in here. No one's getting back to me. Everybody's dragging their fucking feet. It's early in the day on Friday, but I'm like, I want this taken care of before the weekend because you know that no one's gonna be in the office on the weekend. These motherfuckers dragging their feet. I don't know. Long story short, I didn't get somebody out here until today, this morning. By then, I've been in survival mode this entire weekend. I've had a system, so it's like I basically figured this shit out myself. Didn't even need you, fucking exterminator man. Thank you, but no thank you. But no, I actually did need him. But I was like, all weekend, anytime I heard a rustling, I would shake my bottle of ibuprofen and then throw the bottle of ibuprofen. And that seemed to really spook Ratatouille. So he hasn't showed his face in like 2 days now. But the guy came today. He put some sticky traps out because I was like, I don't want a trap that's gonna kill him. I don't want any bloodshed on my hands. I want a sticky trap so I can just boop, put him outside. So I'm hoping that it doesn't come to that. He also found potential entry points in my kitchen where they think that Ratatouille was coming in. So I plugged those up with some plastic bags. He told me to plug it up with some steel wool, and I was like,
who just has steel wool lying around?
First of all, yeah. Second of all, that's gonna hurt little Ratatouille. So no, I'm not a killer. Although that mouse had me screaming for my life. My downstairs neighbor, I was talking to her today. She's like, I heard you screaming.
Like, thank you for the concern.
That whole situation, it's funny now looking back on it, but that sent me into a huge depressive episode. I was just like, everything's falling apart. I was just like crying in my car on the way to work. Like, I don't know what happened, but that mouse situation was just like,
it's just the thing that tipped you over. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's fine now. But yeah, that was my tragic moment in the past couple of days.
What's up with our buildings having issues lately?
Get it to fucking together. That's all I gotta say. Like, I just live here. I don't know. Like, I'm not paying to live with a mouse for the weekend.
No. Did you like my TikTok I sent you today about that? I'd shoot someone for a Baja Blast. I was like, that's not
a Baja Blast freeze or a Baja Blast with tequila in it. I would do dirty things. for a Baja Blast tequila.
And some of those cinnamon bun bites, bitch.
Remember when I pretended to be in distress to get some free ones?
And then the guy fought with his manager about it.
That's the moment that I'm gonna arrive to hell and I'm gonna be like, why? Is it because I'm gay? Is it because I say fuck every other word? And then they're gonna roll that tape back and be like, no, bitch, you got this poor employee fired because you pretended to be going through a breakup because your broke fucking ass couldn't afford cinnamon bun bites.
How sad is that? That's the fun that we had when we were younger, was going through drive-thrus, just terrorizing people, just trying to do their fucking jobs.
I know. Now working in the service industry for as long as I have, it's like, just stop it.
Yeah.
Just go home. Go to sleep. Watch a movie.
Yeah.
You don't need to be going topless through Dunkin'.
That, I should have literally gotten a ticket for that. Is that not illegal? I mean, we're talking about, underage drinking at the same time, but it's, for real, me taking off my top in a car.
Well, you disguised yourself. You put, a shirt over your head, and then you had sunglasses on so that they couldn't recognize you if they rolled the tapes back.
Oh, my God. So, House of Dragon, episode 9, penultimate episode of season 1. How are we feeling? It was a green-only episode.
That's the thing that's, taking away from this episode for me. I was really pumped to see Rhaenyra and Daemon. However, I do appreciate this episode giving us real insight into Alicent and her kids, and everybody's wants and desires, I think, are a lot clearer now, and that's going to be helpful going into the next season, especially if it's going to be following Alicent and Rhaenyra's kids more closely. Obviously, enjoyed, super entertained the entire time, on the edge of my seat the entire time. It was great.
It felt suspenseful. The whole episode felt, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop the whole time.
It's kind of like a lot of the other penultimate episodes from the original Game of Thrones, where it's what's the catch? It reminded me a lot of the Sept episode when Cersei exploded Lady Marjorie, rest in peace.
R.I.P. Queen.
And all the Tyrells. It reminded me a lot of that episode where it's just something is afoot. Something is gonna happen to kind of ruffle some feathers. So definitely love those types of episodes where it's exciting leading up to it and then it gets to the point and you're just taken by total surprise. Yeah. How are you feeling about it? You loved it.
I loved it. I thought it was a great episode. When I found out earlier in the day yesterday that it was a green-only episode, I was this episode is about to be not trash. Okay, that's extreme. But I was I really am not looking forward to it. I was how am I supposed to watch a whole episode with these flops? But as soon as the episode started, I was enthralled by it, and I never once, as much as I love Daemon and Rhaenyra, and I'm sad that we didn't get them during the episode, I don't feel there was any part of it where I was oh, it would really be so much better if these two were here right now. I was this is actually kind of good that it's just solely focused on the greens. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I like that we got more with some of the kids. I thought it was just a kick-ass episode through and through. I loved it. One of my favorites of the season.
Do you want to do standout star, standout scene?
Yeah, let's do it. My standout star is Rhaenys. I mean, obviously. She did the most with the least in this episode. Absolutely loved her. That moment when she broke through the floorboards, I flopped on my couch. I was so stunned. I was hell yes. I was actively cheering. I was just so excited. So yeah, I definitely say that she is my even though the episode is not focused on her, so I should be Alicent or Otto or Aemond or Aegon or whatever the fuck they all are.
To be different from you, I'm gonna say that Vaemond is my standout star. I'm just very intrigued by him, and I know that we said last time that he's maybe not the best person and we shouldn't like him very much, and who knows what he's gonna do. I really am intrigued by him. I love that character. I love the look of that character, and just learning more about him in this episode and how some of the trauma that he's gone through. He lost his virginity when he was super young, which I don't know if you would count that as trauma, but it's that's not healthy to be having sex for the first time when you're 13, maybe. I'm just excited to see how that's going to unfold.
And he definitely knows that he, like, should be the heir. If you're looking at them, you know, like, he sees his brother and sees that he doesn't want it. Mm-hmm. So he's like, well, if he doesn't want it, I do want it. And he sees himself as better suited for it. I'm interested to see if they will, like, turn on each other at all. Yeah. Or if they're going to, like, remain united in order to fight Rhaenyra and Daemon.
I think it's interesting, too, because in order for Vaemond to have any claim to the throne at all, his brother does have to succeed Viserys. So if Rhaenyra is the one to succeed Viserys, then her children are next in line, and it completely skips Vaemond and Alicent's children at all.
Wait, do you mean Aemond?
I had subtitles on, and I thought it was Vaemond.
Vaemond, I think, was the brother that got his head cut off last week.
Oh, okay. Why do they have to have the names
They
so
all literally have the
similar?
same, because him and Daemon have the same exact name, except it's just like flipped the D at the front versus the
Interesting.
back.
Okay, Aemond this whole time. My bad.
I was kind of waiting at the coronation. Did you not think that, I don't know, this was what I was kind of waiting for, because I felt like there was something that was going to go wrong in that. And I kind of thought, like, was Aegon going to, like, kill himself on top of that podium there after he took the dagger, and how he had asked, like, do you love me, and the carriage ride, and how he, like, really didn't want this or whatever. And I'm like, is he gonna, like, kill himself or something? I don't know.
I was definitely anticipating his death by the end of the episode. I was feeling like they were setting that up the entire time. When he's, like, out there, like, holding his arms out like this, it was very much like President Coin from the Hunger Games. Just, oh my God, felt like, kill me now. It was the perfect opportunity to get rid of that character. I think it would have been cool if Rhaenys, you know, had acted in some way. I love that she just kind of was like, fuck y'all, and, like, flew away. Mm-hmm. But also, I don't know, I think Aegon should have died.
That would have been interesting.
Because then it's like, okay, he doesn't want it, was, like, anointed, he is king, so then that makes Aemond's claim, like, valid. And I think it would be more fun to watch him and Alicent fight. Him, like, Aemond, Alicent, and Otto fight against Rhaenyra and Daemon and their kids. I don't know. Who knows what's in store? I obviously don't have any knowledge about the source material. I didn't read the books or anything, so there could be, like, better things to come. Maybe we're gonna end up loving Aegon's character by the end of this show. Who fucking knows? I mean, it's only season 1. Like, you never know, right? Like, we hate it. We didn't necessarily hate, but we didn't love Tyrion at the end of season 1 of Game of Thrones, and he's, like, one of our favorite characters from the entire series. So, like, who knows?
Yeah. I think it'll depend what kind of war crimes they commit against Rhaenyra and her children. Wait and see on that. And same with Rhaenys' granddaughters, like Laena and Laena, right? Or no, that was the daughter, but I think see, they all have the same names. Who knows? Her 2 granddaughters. We'll talk more about Rhaenys as we get in. Standout scene for me, again, was Rhaenys breaking through the floorboards on her dragon. What was yours?
Yeah, that was mine too, but I also wanted to say that the scene with, like, the small council meeting towards the beginning of the episode, when Alicent finds out that they have been, like, planning Aegon's ascent for a while now, and then all of the fallout with that, the eye contact where the people who weren't clued in about these plans are, like, looking at each other like, what the fuck, this is literally treason, like, you can't. It's just so botched. It's so fucked up. I hate Otto with a burning passion of 1,000 suns. Kristen Cole, incel ass bitch. He needs to go to anger management classes. He literally killed a guy.
He's killed 2 people now out of, like, pure rage. No consequences.
This is what's tragic about this man. He's a killer because he is triggered by the mention of a girl that he fucked once. He fucked her once over 10 years ago. And if she is even mentioned, this man becomes a blind, raging fiend. But women are the emotional ones. Women are the problem. We fly off the handle.
He literally pulls his sword on the King's Guard, like the head of the King's Guard, like his boss.
Check your actual self. He is garbage. If you want to find true rage and hatred, look no further than a man who has not gotten laid in a while. pull the patch in the corner and let it go, because come on now. You can't be killing people on a little marble rock thingy.
God, what a way to go, too.
Yeah, what a
Ouch.
horrible way to go.
And then
RIP,
they just
dude.
leave him bleeding out there.
That definitely sets the tone for like what type of people they are. They're just
They're prepared to
scrambling.
be.
They just seem to always be scrambling, and it's tragic.
That's what I love about this episode, is that you're seeing how Otto is not afraid to deal with anyone that will oppose Aegon and like the high towers. So he lets that councilman be murdered right there. You know there's going to be no consequences for that. The one guy who doesn't bend the knee, he just decides to hang publicly. He makes everyone bend the knee or else, and you know that, and how he's like, you can't even go home and confer with your houses. And it's like, that's not wrong. Like, if I was in his position, I wanted to make sure that my flop of a grandson was getting the throne as well. Like, I mean, yes, you'd want to make sure that people don't have time to like think about it or go warn Rhaenyra, but also like, that's how you're gonna rule. Like, you're setting up how you're going to rule, and
You're forcing
it's not
people.
looking too good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tragic. They literally force people to go to his coronation. Otherwise,
Yeah.
no one would have showed up. And he's like, "Oh, look at all these people like who showed up for me." That's tragic. If that's
No,
how I'm gonna
botched.
rule, I don't want to do it. That's dumb.
Yeah. And how right away, immediately, he's like, let's murder Rhaenyra and Daemon, which again,
Mhm.
it's like, it's not necessarily like, you don't want them garnering support, but at the same time, how Alicent is like, let's give them the chance. Let's not just like straight up murder them before they even have the knowledge of anything. And how she's saying, because she's like, Viserys would not have wanted that. Like, he loved his daughter,
Yeah.
and he would not have wanted us to just murder her straight up. And she's even being the logical one here, being like, just because she thinks with his last dying breath that Aegon was like who he saw in his future being the savior of everyone, which is like, bitch, check yourself. She still is like, he did not meet, like, he didn't say that with the idea in mind then that like his daughter would be killed.
Do
Come
you
on.
feel like she is being kept up at night with like, is that what he really meant? I feel like the guilt would eat me alive, and I would just be overthinking that shit. Like, he definitely didn't mean that.
I think she does believe it. I don't
She
know. I
has
think
to,
like
right?
I would. Yeah, I think like I would be kept up with that guilt or like questioning myself, especially when you know that your son's a fucking flop. Like, she's aware of that her son sucks. So I do think that she like that I would be questioning that, but I think she believes it so wholeheartedly.
Yeah, like she has
doesn't.
to in order for it, because that's how they're gonna survive.
If she's questioning it, how is she ever gonna like live with herself? You know, I think she has to hold on to the fact that she believes it.
I don't know.
Yikes. What do we think about locking Rhaenys in her room right away as well?
Scary. I thought that like the cut to black after that would just meant that she was dead, and I was like, oh, that would have sucked. I'm glad she didn't die. I thought her conversation with Alicent was super interesting. Very like reflective of her previous conversations with Rhaenyra about like women and how men don't like it when women rule, but basically women, you know, they whisper in the ears of the men who do get to rule and like have influence over them. So I appreciated that. I just really feel for her, you know, she's like caught in between all of this political upheaval. Her husband, did he die officially, or is he still on his deathbed?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's dead yet.
And then Alicent's bogus ass being like, you should have been queen. Shut up. She's
You
so
don't
fake.
actually believe that. And that's the thing, Rhaenys can see right through that. Like, at least when Rhaenyra goes to her and is like kind of desperate, you know, to get Rhaenys on her side and is like, here, I'll propose like the marriages of my sons to your granddaughters, you know, strengthen our house. Rhaenyra isn't going to her to blow smoke up her ass, okay? She's like being honest of being like, hey, I do need your help, let's do this, instead of being like, you should have been queen, we both know it. And it's like, yeah, she would have been an amazing queen. And Alicent, stop acting like you wish that she was. And I loved when Rhaenys called her Alicent Hightower, because she doesn't see her as a Targaryen.
No, I don't see her as a Targaryen. I'm like thinking this whole time, like, they don't even have dragons. These people aren't gonna last 2 days. But then I remember that her kids are Targaryens. I'm like, oh yeah, they're not real Targaryens. How do you feel about her reaction to Viserys dying?
Like her, when the maid came in and like told her. I think it was part genuine, because I do think that over the years she grew to at least respect her husband and kind of have some sort of a fondness for him. And I think you saw that in episode 8 a little bit. So I do think some of that was grief over losing him, but I think the majority of it was like, oh shit, he didn't get to tell anyone else about Aegon, that he's gone, and kind of what that all ensues. And she was already starting to think like 10 steps ahead after his death, of like what that means for everyone. So I would say her reaction was like 20% grief, 80%, oh shit, what does this mean for me and the throne?
Yeah, I thought it was touching to see her mourning him, just having vulnerable moments. I think it's important to have that with any character that we're going to be following for long periods of time. To have an entire episode devoted to the Hightowers, like we have to feel for them, because otherwise it's just an entire episode with the villains that we fucking hate. So I'm glad we got a little bit more depth, obviously, on like Aemond and even Aegon and Alicent's vulnerable moments after her husband dies too. Like, I appreciated it, but I do agree with you that it was probably also just being overwhelmed by the stuff that is gonna fall out after what she thinks that he said, which he didn't fucking say that. Also was surprised every time they like entered a room to tell a new person with like a distressed look on their face, and they're like, what is it? Just tell us. It's like, you've seen this man. He is dangling by a thread. He has one eye. One of them literally fell out.
Well, he only has literally half of a face. He has one cheek. He has one eyebrow, one eye. Like, this man is crusty.
You're telling me you're not gonna be like, is it grandpa or is it dad? Like, come on. You knew what state that man was in.
Like, don't act surprised.
Another question. Do you feel like Otto would have pushed for Aegon to still, like, take the throne even if Alicent wasn't like, oh, this is what Viserys said?
1000%. And I think that's revealed in the council meeting.
True.
When
very true.
He's like, okay, let's get down to business. And Alicent is kind of like, what do you mean? Like, what are you guys all talking about? And they're like, oh, we've been planning for this. And she's like, so you've been planning to like usurp the throne. So 1000% Otto would have been pushing for it. Do you think so?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And as botched as I feel like Alicent is, she needed to have that moment with Viserys where she misunderstood him in order for the two sides to really solidify and for her to be on Otto's side.
They really should have just married their kids to each other. Like, I mean, marry the half siblings to each other, because then both lines could have like kept going forward and both been in power. So if they would have done Aegon and, well, Rhaenyra didn't have any daughters. Okay, Helena, I think is her name, like the daughter to Jace or Luke or whichever one is the older one.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
I mean, they would have never settled for that, but.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They want absolute power.
But my logical brain looking at this situation from the outside, I was like, then everyone can all have a little bit of power. But of course, that's not how this works. Also, Miss Helena Targaryen, if only the Greens realized that they literally have a That's So Raven on their team, they could be 10 steps ahead, but instead they're always like, oh, whatever, she's like stitching her beetles, whatever. Someone listen to her.
Yeah, she is giving a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Speaking of That's So Raven, apparently she does come into my job. Not when I've been there, but if I do see Raven Simone, I'm gonna be like, you got guys into the future.
I thought you were gonna be like, amigas, cheetahs.
That too.
Stop it. Oh, that would be amazing. Yes, I do think she's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I do like her. Like, out of the three children, I mean, I'm intrigued by Aemond mostly because I think he's going to be a fun person to hate going forward. But I do think that out of the like, at least Aegon, I'm like, you just flop energy. Where Helena, I'm like, you're kind of fun. And I know the people who have read the books are like huge fans of her. They're like, we love, like, when we say we hate Greens, we don't mean her. So I'm like, okay, is she a vibe? We shall see.
Maybe she's a vibe. Maybe she's gonna be an ally.
I still think back to the one moment I've liked Otto, when in the last episode last week, when she made her little speech about being married and like, it's fine, he mostly ignores you except when he's drinking or whatever, and she sits down and Otto's like, good. Like, yeah, that was cute. That was his one cute moment.
Actually botched at this coronation ceremony when he is just like soaking it all in. It's very Peter B vibe.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because, sir, this is the closest you are ever gonna get. So you better soak it all in. You fucking crusty, dusty man. I would love to beat his ass.
And Kristen Cole, sir, who invited you to speak?
Not I, said the fly.
I don't remember seeing your name on the agenda for this. So sit your ass down.
Yeah, he's like, everybody clap for the king. It's like, you're tragic.
Earlier again, this man is just a walking, talking trash bag, but when they get to the little, whorehouse, you know, and I say whorehouse with the most loving way. We love the whorehouses in King's Landing.
Get that bag.
But, the brothel, couldn't think of the word. When he says to Aemon that, like, every woman is, a picture of the mother and they're to be talked about with the highest of reverence, sir, did you not just 3 episodes prior flame Rhaenyra and then call her the C word?
I remember.
We have receipts. We have the tape. Receipts. If this was Bravo and it was a reunion with Andy Cohen, we would be rolling those tapes back.
Also, your hat is stupid as fuck. You look stupid.
Yeah. I kind of love the wardrobe choice because Aemon looks really cool with his hood up.
He looks sick as fuck, yes.
That only makes Kristen look even worse.
Going back to the small council meeting, I really loved Allison in the moment when she, like, slammed the table and she was like, one more word and I'll send you to the wall. I was like, fuck yeah. Fuck yes, get at it.
She commanded the attention, which, like, good for her. And also in that meeting, when the Knight of the Kingsguard surrenders his cloak and is like, this, I won't be a part of this, and left. Snaps and claps for you. It gave very much, what was his name? Back in Game of Thrones, when that one knight also surrendered and then he went to Dany and joined Dany's squad. Yeah. It was serving very much that guy. Sir Barristan?
Yeah, Sir Barristan. Yeah. I think that's what it was. What is this child fighting pit? What the fuck is that?
And the fact that it's, like, just Aegon's children just chilling in there too.
Wait, it's his kids?
So the one, when they did that little pan to the little boy with the blonde hair, it's like Aegon's bastards. Or, like, he has bastards there.
My god. He's horrid.
But yeah, what is with the fighting pit? And then they said they file their teeth and nails.
I'm sorry. I don't think, like, why are you so bored? You need to find something to do. You're making children fight each other.
There's gotta be a hobby.
Town. Yeah, why don't you want to paper mache?
There's other things to do.
Yeah, why don't you fight yourself? How about you go in the fighting pit if you're so bored? Or get a legal adult, someone 18 who can choose for themselves.
Or even like 16 in this world. Like lower than 16. Fine, let 16-year-olds fight.
They need to sign a thing that they are like, I understand what's happening. I agree to have my teeth filed.
That was so random. And what do you think of Eric and Eric?
Yeah, what the fuck? Have they been here this whole time?
I don't know.
But I loved their discourse, and I love the fact that they're twins, and it's like one of them. It's almost like one person fighting with themselves, like two halves of themselves, because one of them is like, we have to be loyal to what King Viserys said, and the other one is like, no, we have to be loyal to Alicent and like do our duty. So I really appreciated their little moment in this, but I think I do remember there being twins knights or something. I don't know, but love, but also dumbass name for twins. I'm sorry.
Once again, you couldn't get any more creative than Eric and Eric. Well, at least they aren't fucking each other. So we finally got a pair of twins.
That we know of.
True,
right
I guess
now.
True.
I think it would have been cool if they had one Eric going, like both of them kind of in a race to find Aegon, which that might have been a little bit confusing and hard to keep track of, and then the one brother just ditched the other brother because he was like, bye, sayonara, I don't even want to help this king anyways.
Well, and then Kristen Cole, once again, stop fighting. I thought he was going to kill him, honestly, because that's just what he does. That's his streak. But I did love the two brothers fighting with each other. It just felt very much like sibling rivalry. And then the fact that Aegon spit in Aemon's remaining eye, that's some sibling type behavior.
Yeah. Also, it is interesting that, and I don't know if Kristen knew that he was doing this or not, but like the reason why Alicent wanted Kristen to find Aegon is because she wanted to have Aegon's ear so that she could say, don't kill Rhaenyra. Mm-hmm. So Kristen was basically doing one for our sis Rhaenyra and helping her. I don't know if he knew that or not, but either way, ha, you fucking idiot. Played yourself, period. Because I still stand by what I said before. Alicent is in love with Rhaenyra. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get pussy from either of them ever again.
Mm-mm. No.
Because Alicent has her little side hustle as a foot porn woman. get that bag. Just kidding. I don't know why she's doing that. I don't think she's getting paid.
Not little lad Lord Larry's with his fucking foot fetish. That was so uncalled for.
He is exactly the type of person that I think of when I think of a man with a foot fetish.
Look at my note that I had about that. It's just foot fetish, ew.
What was mine? Mine was what the fuck with his foot fetish.
It was one thing when he was just like standing there or sitting there looking at him, but then when he reached under his pants, sir.
Yeah, starts pulling the patch to the feet, and she's just like looking away, like in disgust. Is she doing that because he's like blackmailing her? Like what's going on there?
I kind of took that as she is kind of keeping him on her leash a little bit of she wasn't like brazenly being like, hey, check me out, like I'm gonna sleep with you, but it was like, hey, subtle kind of get at it with my feet. Because like I'm assuming, and like, you know, dated back in long time periods ago, feet were like considered private parts on women. Like your boobs could like be pushed up in a corset, you know, but it was like your feet were like off limits. So I feel like it was like scandalous for her to be showing him his feet. I don't actually know, but I feel like she knew what she was doing with that and that she was trying to keep him like on her side and enticed by her without having to get up and like make out with him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your take on it?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't sure if that was him blackmailing her with the Lord Harwin situation. Like, I don't know if that would even work at this point. But yeah, if he's just been doing favors for her and she's doing favors for him by showing him her feet, whatever. Go off, both of you. I don't know. I'm not one to judge. Except I am, and you're both disgusting.
And you know, so I'm like, so who's gonna try to like make a move in on her? Because I feel like if she goes with Lord Larry's, Sir Kristen Cole's gonna bust a nut over that. He's gonna be so pissed. But if she goes with Kristen Cole, Lord Larry's is gonna be like, I have all this beef on you to dig up. So I feel like she's gonna be stuck in the middle of these two guys who she's kind of kept just on the back burner a little bit for her. And she's gonna run herself into a bit of a situation.
Yeah, I think Kristen Cole, he still has his vow or whatever, so he can't marry anyone. But I can see him being problematic and being like...
You think, though, if Allison wasn't like, drop your title and be
I
husband?
think he would for sure. He would for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what his motivations are anymore. Like, I don't know what he...
Like, what does he want?
Yeah, what's your deal? That's just what I want to know. Like, what's your deal? You're tragic. You're bitter.
You are tragic.
Going back to that, though, with Allison, and, like, I thought when Rhaenys, like, read her for fucking filth in that little meeting that they had together when she was like, you live in service to men. How's it feel? That's sad. Oh, you think you're, like, a powerful, badass woman? Think again, because everything you do is for men, and that's really sad for you, honey. That's not me. We're not the
same.
Can't relate. Yeah, I can't relate. Sorry. I'm gonna go get my dragon, and, you know, I could end you and your entire bloodline, but... not worth my time. Bye. I bet she was singing as she's flying away like, I'm a bad bitch, all jokes aside.
It's in the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
I did love that moment when she said that. And I did like that you see Allison kind of processing that a little bit. And while I don't think that she's going to ever do anything drastic, because she's never going to step out of the shadow of her father and she's never going to shun him or anything like that. Or like now her sons. Like she's never going to step away from them. But I did like then when she went to Otto and she was like, this is what's gonna happen here, and kind of like laid it down for him. I did like that. I was like, good for you. Is he gonna actually listen to you?
No. He's out for one and only himself. Which again, that is so fucking tragic, because what do you think is gonna happen? You think you're gonna sit on the Iron Throne someday? It's just like Peter B. How the fuck are you gonna make that work? It's not gonna happen.
If he was told that killing Alicent would further his stake in the game, he would do it. Like, and I don't know if she realizes that. Where if you told Rhaenyra that she had to kill one of her kids in order to get ahead, she would never. She wouldn't. That.
Yeah, and I think Alicent kind of knows that, but is also kind of like doesn't want to believe it because her dad is like all she has. Also, can we talk about this? I hate when men are like, you look just like your mother. That's weird. And I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but when he's like, you look just like your mother in some lights, ew. I don't like that.
Yeah.
She's like standing up for herself and having like a heated conversation with him, and his only response is, "You look so much like your mother in some lights." And then she just like rolls her eyes and leaves.
What happened to the mom? Do we know?
I think she died. She didn't die during the show, but like she died when Allison was young, because I remember when her and Rhaenyra are like praying together, you know, they kind of talk about that.
Interesting.
And Allison is like, I can relate to you because my mom also died.
Interesting.
I just said, damn, they hanging bitches. When Rhaenys is broken out by the one good citizen, I was maximum stressed when they got separated.
Yeah.
My heart was a pounding. And then when she like kind of has that smile on where she like realizes where they're going, I was like, when are you gonna be on sleeve, Miss Rhaenys?
Yeah.
But I did not see that coming.
I didn't figure that she would leave without her dragon, but I was like, is she gonna make like a public spectacle? Like, I was like, is she gonna try to garner support when like she's out in public, and like, can anyone actually kill her, you know, in front of all these people? I didn't know what she was gonna do, so I did love that, and I was stressed. I think, was it the one Eric? I think it was one of the Erics that broke her out and was taking her away. Because then I'm like, why are you in? So I could be wrong on that, but I was like, why are you in your like full night gear? Like, that's not incognito. Also, I was stressing. I was like, Rhaenys, hold on to your hood, because I was like, if that hood gets exposed, that's like a beacon.
Her big ass hair under there. I was like, come on.
It's like, pull it into a low bun. I do wonder, looking at that wig, I'm like, how heavy is that? It's gotta be heavy. Did you watch the preview for next week's episode?
I didn't.
Well, so we know that Rhaenys gets to, is it Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra and Daemon are? So she arrives there and says, like, they're coming for you. And we see, like, her kids and Rhaenys' granddaughters. And we do see Aemond popping up and taking off his eye patch. So, like, I don't know if he's in that episode. We do see back on that bridge, remember where that, like, confrontation between Daemon and Rhaenyra happened, like, years ago? Daemon and a bunch of people are drawing swords on one side and people are drawing swords on another side. Daemon is trying to get more dragons to their side, like awakening ancient dragons that no one has, and he's like singing in Valyrian to him. It's so cool. I'm very excited for next week's episode, and I'm nervous that someone's gonna die. I don't know why.
Me too. I feel like someone's definitely gonna die. I am super excited. I'm gonna watch the promo after we get off here.
You know what like is sad to think about with this show that we never had to think about with Game of Thrones was that we knew it, like it was up in the air at the end of Game of Thrones of who would be alive, but you at least knew that some characters would make it out alive, where you're watching this and you know that every single character that we love right now is gonna die, like over the course of the show. Every single one of them. And all the dragons. Like all the dragons are gonna die.
I mean, that's a long way off.
Yeah, but it's still like sad to think about, and it's like weird to think about, like watching a show just knowing that all these people are gonna die. Like we don't know who carries on the line. Everyone who doesn't, I'm pretty safe to say, is dead. Wild, but I cannot wait. It's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah, so next week we will be back with the season finale of House of the Motherfucking Dragon.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you guys for listening / watching. Please follow us at the links in the description below, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the green follow button on Spotify if that's where you're listening, or subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts if that's where you're listening. Do all the things. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Lylas.
Lylas.